I have to introduce myself that way because it's Vesti making this happen. Potentially what we want to do here today is to be able to share, to run an experiment. And that experiment is to see whether it's possible to extend the energy I got from PK 3 years ago and see if that same energy can be reproduced in this room for folks who want to do something similar to what I've been able to do. So I'm going to tell you my story in case you don't know. I come from a relatively humble background, connected to, you know, what you call Nigeria's lower to no class. Get what I mean? My parents, my dad is a teacher, my mom was working in a hospital as I was growing up, so she was basically an health information clerk, you know, when she joined. She had me right before she went for NYSC, so I went to orientation camp twice. You know, so I have a baby picture of me right there in Ede orientation camp. So I was born in Osun State. I grew up in Modakeke. This is important because I was around 6, 7 years old when the Modakeke crisis, the most recent one, happened. And it was my first time of seeing the UN logo. So I was 7 years old, I saw the UN logo because my dad was volunteering for Peace Corps. So yes, we didn't come from a remarkable background, but I started getting exposed to the things that would matter in my life ultimately relatively early. So 9 years old, I was volunteering for a group called the Society for Women and AIDS in Africa as a 9-year-old in GSS1. I happened to go to school with somebody in this room today, so she'll probably remember, you know, when I was volunteering, when we were part of this group. So I went to another secondary school and joined another nonprofit. And why this story is important is that the trajectory of me understanding the importance of humanitarian work started really early, you know, and I wouldn't make this connection until much later in life. Later on, I went to study computer science. After hoping I would study pharmacy and failing about twice and not passing JAMB. Then I did a diploma in computer science that got me exposed to computers early. A few years prior, because I was living in a boarding house that had a computer lab, we could sneak into the computer lab on weekends. So all of this would connect to what I eventually did later, which is study computer science in one of Nigeria's foremost technology schools, FUTA. I did that program, you know, with my heart in my mouth, because by the second year, I realized that Mark Zuckerberg had created Facebook as a year 2 student of Harvard, and the only programming language I was learning was Fortran 77, which could barely, please help me welcome Mr. Kunle Shorian. Please come forward, sir. Please, I said we will hit the ground running. Culture shaper, gaze, Baba. Good to see you, sir. Chief. Good to see you. PK, please. Right away. Okay. Right away. I know we don't have a lot of time, and actually we started a minute ago, so it's not like we gave the time 4 to 4:30 to get started. So I was just sharing a very important story around my journey. And from there, finishing the computer science program, I happened to, you know, land in a company called Microsoft. Spent 5 years in Microsoft as a leader in their philanthropies team in Nigeria. And eventually, after 5 years, getting really tired of like all the embarrassment that was happening to me and the barriers to going global. A very typical example was that I was somewhere in Lekki where the VFS office is for South Africa, and I was beaten by the rain the entire day, waiting on the line, just trying to get into the VFS. You know, and this was because I had gotten invited to the World Economic Forum in South Africa, Economic Forum on Africa, and I couldn't attend if I didn't stay in the rain that day. So that's just one out of a lot of embarrassment. I've been invited to Geneva, and they will say, can you meet us in a room next week, Tuesday? And today is Saturday. And they just mentioned one room, and that would deter you of the opportunity entirely. So PK, what I told them earlier just before you came is the fact that this session today is like an experiment. Most of the guys in this room are not lacking motivation. So the goal is not, you know, to bring them in a room to talk about motivation. Some of the things you've had to do to be here today is not even going to be worth all of that effort if that's what they came for. So I sort of passed that across that this is an experiment. I'm hoping that I can reproduce the energy of the conversation we had in 2018 on Isaac John, where you told me, Shola, I found a path for you to go global, you know, and If that experiment works, then we can say that the way it happened to me 6 months after, I landed in Dallas, Texas, started a great life and doing what I'm doing today. I'm super grateful for it. Maybe that's exactly what will happen. Maybe they will be Hong Kong or, to Okinawa in Japan or Toronto, Canada, or regardless of where it is. But we know there's an energy that is stopping a lot of people from becoming who they should be. And we think that there should be a conversation around the audacity to be borderless. So 2017, PK had done this Next 365 session on borderlessness. 2018, we sort of did a further conversation, on it. And what I think that conversation that they gave to me was the audacity to do what needed to be done. So I said I was going to sort of ask PK a couple of what I consider tough questions today, but I'll let him do sort of like an intro on what his thoughts are around, borderlessness. Yeah, okay, PK, they're trying to mic you. Is this still possible to do that? Okay. About borderlessness, where Audacity came is not even from that conversation we had in 2018. This year, it was doing a live session with PG, and I was believing God for the word for the year. Usually, I would travel to another city at the end of every year, so I went to Austin. But all I did during Austin was just vacation. I didn't pray. I didn't ask God for direction. I wasn't interested in doing that in 2023. I'd done it several years prior. Not like I still don't believe in it, but I wasn't just going to do it within that 3 days holiday. So within the next few days that followed, PK was doing a session with PG, and I latched onto that session and said, I will be hearing this word today, considering he's mentored and guided me for at least 15 years. So I would hear that word today. Okay, and I heard that word, and that word was audacity. And that's what I need for 2023 because of what I need to do. So in looking at what this conversation should be entitled, we then made it audacity for borderlessness. And that's essentially what this is about today. You need him for something? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to be sure they're not disturbing things. All right, so PK, thanks so much for making our time to be here. I've watched you very closely, heard from you so directly since the days of BB BlackBerry Bold. I would ask you questions and you would, endure, my consistent pestering and just making sure that I can hear the word and just, know what I should be doing. I would tell you that I've listened to some of PK's material over 100 times, no exaggeration. These were things I listened to at 16, 17, things that my brother, who is now my co-founder at Vesti, also listened to many, many times. So primarily, I've built quite a thesis on how to live, life on the surface. And as a thought leader, work that all these last few years, I'm not yet ready. I'm just taking the cloth to this was the time I thought PK was at the peak of whatever it is that he was doing, And what the last 3 years have shown me is that there's still so much more as long as there's breath in our nostrils. So I'll spare you my own genius, if any, and allow the actual genius in the room, to share some thoughts with us today about the audacity of
February 9th, right?
yes.
I'll be 52. So I don't know what I know at 52. He is almost 20 years. So he's a genius, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, if you travel for MBA in America at 36, or you went to an American school at 33, and you're a class rep, of course, who should be class rep? The father of the class. The oldest in the class should be that. It's what you do away from what is expected that really defines. We also live in a world where genius is measured easily by products and services. It used to be measured by philosophy and ideology, right? There's so many geniuses in our history who didn't really produce any product, but documented, thinking and thoughts for us in ways that help. I mean, how do you define Adam Smith? He didn't give you any product, but he gave you thoughts. And he gave us division of labor, gave us wealth of nations. He gave us quite a lot, right? So, but people like Shola are leading in both. They're creating products and they're building philosophies. I do have the privilege of having countless proteges across the world. Or let me twist it. Countless people who say they are my proteges. Whether they are my protege or not, it's left to me to know. It's not really what you claim. It's what I see you do, what I understand my thinking to be, and how much of that I think you understand and you apply, most importantly. The ability to recall it doesn't mean anything to me. If you can say, so I'm going to be very frank with you guys. I made a promise to myself about 7 years ago, never to hold a microphone and for any reason say anything that is not me. I came into a type of rebellion 7 years ago, and I just don't care. I don't care. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I did that all my life. I babysitted my life, myself, all my life. I try to impress everybody. Those who are ahead of me, those who are at my level, those who are behind me. But now, everybody can fly. You get to a particular age and you realize that nobody matters. Only you. Only you matter. And without that kind of thinking, there are steps you cannot take. The day you mature to the level where you just completely lose the fear of whether you'll be okay or not, or whether God will take care of you or not. That is the day your freedom begins. Until you get there, you are still going to be subject to a lot of the whims and fancies, opinions, thoughts, fingers of people. You have to come to a place where you risk everything called legacy on the strength of what you understand. Of course, that doesn't set you free from seeking counsel, opinions, and all of that. But there's no human view, and I say that with due respect, there's no human view that should be enough for you to take a decision. Every human view, the best of it, should add and broaden your wisdom table. The call is yours. And when you make that call, you don't point fingers to anybody. Even if you ended up wrong. If you fail, if you succeed, it's really your call. But I've also grown to the level where failure is actually an impossible articulation. You can't fail. You don't understand. It's not possible to fail. You see, if failure is possible, Shola, please allow me to take it from this angle. I'm going back to the question. If failure is possible, redemption will be impossible. Because failure is a noun. And when it's a noun, it's final. Anything, if failure cannot be final, right, then it's not failure. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Failure is a noun, and noun speaks of finality. It's the name of a person, place, or thing. So this is glasses. This is glass, right? Gaze. Now, please let's put our hands together for. It's not every day. It's not every day you sit by. It's not every day you roll with people. We'll be rolling together all day. Anything. Come, let me help you make it. Thank you. So, what was I saying?
Failure is a noun. It's a noun.
Failing is a verb. And that is your lot till you die. You will be failing. but you will never be a failure. So failing is necessary.
Yeah.
Right? Everything in life is failing. Aging itself is not representative of failure, but it represents failing because you are depreciating, even though your mind is appreciating.
Yeah.
Gaze. Okay.
I'm waiting for it.
Perfect. Are we together?
Yes.
So there's a word that came into my spirit some years ago. There's a phrase, rather, adventure capital. If you don't understand how to navigate around adventure, it's everything you call risk, everything you call audacity. They are, first of all, a state of being before you take any action. People always ask me, how do you stay relevant? Somehow picky over the years, you just know how to show up at the right time. I say, because rebellion is nature for me. Conformity is what I try to do, right? Conformity is what I try, similarity is what I go out of my way to create. Rebellion, difference, those are my natural environment, even to my detriment, let's be clear. Not that it works for me every time. Of course, you know my story, 12 years on campus. Started trying to graduate, 12 years. What else should I be afraid of? Tasted everything from chewing gum to cocaine. Black sheep in the family. Labeled everywhere. Proverb in my neighborhood. Do you want to be like? Do you want to be like? Do you want to be like? I'm still a proverb. Don't you want to be like? Don't you want to be like? But, how bad can it get? I've made mistakes. Even when I became Olakunle Shorian, 2007, I made a wrong business decision. I was owing the whole world. Everybody in uniform was looking for me. Boy Scout, Girls Brigade, LASMA, police, EFCC, everybody. 2009, I couldn't even pay salaries. The moment I saw Busui, it's a living testimony. Am I lying? You were working with me at that time. I couldn't pay salaries. Do you know what it means to keep people inspired and you're not paying them? And I'm not the guy that's I'm not going to say, look, there's no money. And I will tell them, how do I even, there's no money, guys. And these guys gave me please help me honor this gentleman. Just seeing him just gave me memories. Amazing, amazing gentleman. I could point to people who, but that's my journey. But 14 years before 2018, I knew that it is impossible for me to define my legacy and my destiny by whatever it is Nigeria can offer me. I was that clear. 14 years before. Imagine what I was enduring all those years, knowing that I will not complete my life will never be complete. Maybe yours can. We have different journeys. Right? So when I decided to move, my family, everybody you can imagine were calling me. They were telling me, wow, wrong move. Why are you? Even some proteges called me. I said, PK, you have spoken about Nigeria all this while. I said, give me the quote where I said, I'm going to live in Nigeria for the rest of my life. If you can give me that quote, thank you so much, guys. This is why people go up, see what he's doing all around. This is what we should be doing for celebrity. Thank you, guys. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
So, people called me, people sent me DMs, of course, trust me, I didn't respond to anybody. Those who call me, once they say, PK, this Travis, I'm not interested in this conversation. With due respect. There's somebody I knelt down for. Say, you are too much for me to. But I can't answer this question. Because the answer I want to answer is outcome. If I begin to tell you something, you'll still be debating. So, like I know me, I know you. It's how I know this journey I want to undertake. Now let me depress you a bit. If you had asked me, so what do you see? I did. My movement wasn't based on what I saw. My movement wasn't based on what I know I have to do when I get there. My movement was based on what I know I shouldn't do again. You see, it's not every time you have to know where you are going. Tayo, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. It's not every time you have to know where you are going. In fact, let me be honest with you. That is luxury. And for those of you who are Christians, I know people have told you, you have to pray, you have to know what God is saying. You don't know what God is saying. I've walked with men of God. You too, when you say, as I was trying to go yesterday, the Holy Spirit said, the Holy Ghost just told me, okay. Then another day, say, what's happening? I'm praying about, I don't understand. Is it not the Holy Ghost that was just telling you how to pick your shirt, how to pick your shoe? Holy Ghost that was just, you're just like that. And now you want to make it, and then that just disappears. Now you need 21 days of fasting. The same Holy Ghost that was telling you, don't go out. The Spirit just said, don't go out. So who was talking all that time? Of course, you. Hello? Hi. I've read the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, over 40 times. I'm not lying to you. 3 chapters a day, 5 on Sunday. Finish it every year. 6 a day, 10 on Sunday. Finish it every 6 months. 12 a day, 20 on Sunday. Finish it every 3 months. I've done it over 40 times. With all humility, you can't fool me. By the end of this year, I'll finish it twice. If I have my life by the end of this year. You know what I'm saying? There is a state you have to be in. It's a gift of the human condition. The things you talk to God about are unnecessary. There are a lot of guys in the world doing bigger things they don't talk to God. We'll show you people who don't know God at all, who have been married for 46 years. They didn't pray before, they didn't fast before they choose their husband. You are the one making it complex. There are people who are building kingdoms. If you don't know anyone, they don't pray and fast at Google. They don't do anointing service at Facebook. And if you have to find the closest word to describe GPT, is maybe, you say, the mind of God. I'm not saying it's the mind of God. Yes, it's not it's not even an inch near the mind of God. But in our horizontal world and horizontal thinking as human beings, that's probably the closest thing. So I said this to say that Audacity is not something you receive in your life as an option. Without Audacity, which is preceded by a state of being, which is creative rebellion, that consciousness to know that the best of your experiences comes with expiry. And it is your duty at some point to make up your mind to terminate it and bet a new one. You will never have one experience that will define you perpetually. So there must be another type of consciousness that says that this experience is great, but how does it end? Because everything on the face of the earth, place or thing or person, comes with expiry. In that even us will die one day. Everything comes with expiry. So if expiry is sure, Sorry, I needed sugar. That's why I asked for this. If expiry is sure, you should just prepare for it. Isn't it? If you don't do that, we're going to talk to Kodak. They'll give you more insight. I'm going to talk to Yahoo. They'll give you more insight. You see? Talk to Nokia. They'll give you incredible, transferable insights. You just don't get so appreciative of something and forget it's going to change. You don't get loyal to an idea and forget it's going to change. You don't get so consumed in a moment and forget it has a lifespan. Everything on the face of the earth comes with a lifespan, guys. Your ability to predict that expiry and to anticipate it and to prepare for it, that's your edge right there. Just imagine that typewriters sold the most when computers were arriving. And people were importing typewriters. Computer was already on ground, seeking room, taking its place little by little. People were starting secretarial schools. People were starting school of whatever. People were importing all kinds of things too. They were investing in yesterday. Because change is noiseless. I didn't come here to, I want to convince you on why you need to be borderless. I want to convince you. And I'm sure Shola will ask me some questions. But I need to let you see this. Change in itself is noiseless. And let's be clear, people better than you have been victims of change. Have been casualties of change. People far better than you. Digital film was discovered in the backyard of Kodak. It is Kodak research budget. It's Kodak's R&D budget that discovered digital films. But at that time, they were the King Kong of paper films. And so there was no way they were not ready to reimagine films. And to them, they paid for the guys doing the research in their labs, and then they brought the idea to them and said, guys, this is the future of film. And then what happened? They said it's not possible. Paper film is not possible. And they stayed loyal to paper films. Of course. What happened to them? Where is Kodak now? The last time I checked, they were selling ventilators. Life has humbled them. Cut to size. Guess how long it took for that to happen? Less than 10 years. Less than 10 years after that, Kodak was looking for space. I'll tell you what was wrong with them. They became loyal to method. It's good to see you. I know you don't have people here, so let me just do. If I miss you, don't be worried. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you all. All right. So they missed the mission. Let me give you that philosophy real quick. Mission is different from method. Your goal in life is to always be loyal to the mission. The mission is always timeless. The method must be disrupted, reinvented in response to changing times, changing people, and changing markets. Music, what do you think it is? Method or mission? Mission. What about CD? Of experiencing the mission. What about AirPods? Of experiencing mission. What about cassette those days? Of experiencing. You see? So you can see how over the years the method has continued to change. But what has remained constant? That is a recurring decimal, isn't it? Yes. The mission. Let's move. Transportation, mission or method?
Mission or method? Horses for experiencing. Chariots for experiencing. Cars, bicycle, taxi, yellow cab, Uber. Even the idea of traditional taxi was a method. And some people became so loyal to it. I remember many years ago when I got to the airport in Lagos, I traveled and I got an Uber. I saw some guys, they were complaining. I was waiting for my Uber. They say, everybody's buying their car now. I was hearing them live. God just put me there. Everybody's buying their car. They're not using taxi again. Everybody's just buying their car, using driver. And arrogant people cannot even drive themselves anymore. One small boy I saw him with driver. Because he saw it. And you know those days when Uber just came. It's not now that you are seeing neat cars. Do you understand? So this guy was like, he was witnessing his irrelevance. And it was so noiseless that he was romancing it. It was even, that's what I call confident ignorance. You know nothing, but you're not aware. You know, you can stand in a moment blindly foolish. So sure and so wrong. So, plane, method. Sheep. Let's go further. Somebody should give us something. Internet. Mission or method? Mission. Method, man.
Communication is the mission.
Method. Mission is timeless. You don't reinvent mission. It's a human reality. Anything you call mission, it can't be what somebody started. It's a gap in the life of a human being. Mission is a gap. Nobody started mission. You don't start mission. You start methods in response to mission. The moment you mistakenly define a mission, a method as a mission, you already have a lifespan. Doesn't matter how long you reign for, you already have a lifespan. Because somebody is coming to disrupt you. Because it's a method. It doesn't have existential backing. The universe does not support it. God, it's like you want a chicken to wrap. You actually want a snake to, to stroll or do something. Do you understand what I'm saying? To back. It's not possible. So part of what you do is to first get that definition right before you begin to camp around it. When you kiss someone, please permit me if you struggle with this in any way. I'm not trying to put you down. But if somebody was COVID positive and you decide to kiss the person deeply, right? You're not going to feel a sharp pain in your mouth. I'm bleeding. What's that? I'm COVID positive now. No. The kiss will be as sweet as any kiss you can have anywhere. But something capable of terminating your life just entered you. And it doesn't enter with an alarm. Boom! You are now COVID positive. You will leave the place as normal, as usual. Everything will be fine. But the thing is taking roots. The day a woman conceives, she has sexual intercourse, and boom, she conceives. Does she feel bones? No, sir. Boom, 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 boom. Eh? Wait. Oh, we are pregnant. Why? You don't feel anything. We need 3 months. We need 2 months to begin to see the early signs. Yeah. But the very day of conception, where the life began, an entire generation began to grow. inside of you. An entire world. Noiseless. Don't feel nothing. Let me take you into scripture. They said virtue left Samson. And the Bible says that Samson stood up like before to go after the Philistines. That means he wasn't aware of the withdrawal. That means he wasn't conscious that anything changed. He just stood up like, in fact, what the Bible used was that he got up like before. Because everything was like before.
He did the method of before. He didn't know the mission had changed.
My God.
That expired.
Perfect grace. Perfect, man. That's perfect application. Let me scare you a bit. So Saul had a crown in scripture. And he was rejected as king. The crown was there for over 17 years. The crown was still there. But the mission actually, the person that was anointed king did not have the crown for another 17 years.
Yes, sir.
So you can have all the, and that's what was happening to Kodak. The moment they rejected that digital film, all they had was crown. It was only a matter of time. Some other guys were already jogging to take over. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's a personal work. You don't care about what anybody is doing. The same people that are criticizing you, saying you are just, look at all this nonsense jackpot people are saying. Can you imagine? Somebody told me one time, I did a business and, it was a very tough business, very tough. One of those businesses that Christians run away from, that religious people run away from, because they are locked into an idea of God, not God. But me, I don't run from those ideas. So I went in there. Really tough. When they say the shadow of death, I was in that shadow. And I kept playing by the books, checking it out. There's a way you can be correcting your child for doing what you don't like, not for doing what is wrong.
Yes.
In fact, there's a research that says that 85% of parents don't correct their children for doing what is wrong.
Yeah.
They correct them for doing what they don't like. In other words, they are training their children for their home, not for the world. They will pass all the rules of your home, but let them get out there. Somebody's going to put their hands on their blouse anyhow. Because they just learned your rules. And you're not the monopoly of you don't own the monopoly of the world. The world is always bigger than whatever you are experiencing. There's always an option, a vista you have never thought about. Parallel to every experience you're having. That is how this is. Where you're not doing something wrong. You're just doing what people don't like. When you look at the face of God, He's smiling. Everybody is frowning. But God is smiling because you're not doing anything wrong. Those kind of businesses. So I was writing it. Somebody now called me and said, I hear that you are dealing with it. And let me tell you what was wrong. What was wrong was that I was doing business with somebody that was really a crisis. And they thought, because of, so Feli spoke to me, and when it was done, I said, look, if I rob, you still come and tell me I don't have integrity. Anyway, if I can't pay my bills, you are going to say I don't have integrity. If I begin to struggle, you are still going to come and point these same fingers at me. The life I live now, guys, let me tell you. If I'm drowning, you can never know. If you're waiting for my shoe before you know whether I'm drowning, you're going to wait forever. No, quite frankly. You're going to wait forever. Because I have an entire room. My wife called me and said, please, don't bring any shoe again into the house. There's nowhere. I kid you now. Don't bring any shoe again. My assistant was helping me to pack today. He said, sir, all these shoes here, you didn't wear them on this trip. I said, I didn't bring them to wear them. I bring them for whatever happens. I brought them for whatever happens. Well, somebody said, so what is this thing? I said, it's a show. It's a show, man. This thing we are doing is a show. Yeah. You don't think it's a show? That's why you're going to keep learning. It's a show. And I know my role in the show. It's a show. The show is not me, but I know the show. Do you understand? So, you will see it in my wristwatch. You won't see it in my pants. You will not see it in my food. You can't see it in the car I'm driving. If you are waiting to see it in the car, I'm going to wait for a long time. I drive a very good car. So if you see me like this, you can never know my state. The only way you will know that I'm drowning, should I tell you, is the day I finally drown. So I should now be thinking of you. You don't understand what I'm saying? If I am drowning now, you can't know. You will still see me in a premium flight. You will see me, Gates will still come and meet me, except I come. Even if I tell Gates, I'm dying. He will still carry my bag. He will still help me today. He will still support me. So you will still see everything going on because all you see is the show. And that's fine. It's a tragedy if I forget that that's all you see. That's the real tragedy. The only way you will ever know that I'm drowning is when I finally drown. Lifeless. You say, so he was drowning. But you can't press rewind. Therefore, you are not in the equation of how I make my decision. True, sir. People send me messages every day. They say, oh, you are doing well. I say, what is he going to say? He said, he's coming to you, sir. You know, he wants to share his testimony with you. I said, I don't have time. The day I'm completely available, I'll listen to him. He said, but it's a testimony. So what? It's a testimony, so what should I do with that? Let's be frank. What should they do? Really? What should they do? If somebody tell you, if you are Dangote and somebody says, good afternoon, sir. Please, I beg you. What should you say? You are mad? You should say you are mad. So if you see Dangote and you say, good afternoon, sir, that's what you should say. That's not anything special. That's what you should say. Yeah. It will be a problem if Dangote finds that inspiring. You don't understand? Yeah. So people call me and say, I want to check on you. Oh, I wear the part. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. You drop the phone. I'm gone. Let me be honest with you. I've deleted that thing. It didn't register in my consciousness. He won't call me if my life was the other way around. There are people in that person's life that he has not called today that are closer to him that he has not called. He probably has not called his uncle today who is not doing well. Right? I got to my door one day. Shola, please, you know, my case is always special. Yes. I got to my door when our office was at the New Jews. My receptionist just ran to me to collect a paper. Paper, like, for real, like 2 of this. I came in like this. What kind of help is this? For me to let you give me this help, I have to be a slave myself. Unfortunately, I'm a freeborn. I can't feel what you are helping me. Personally, I don't offer unsolicited support. I can stand in front of you like this, and your cheek is, I can see, you are bleeding. I'm not going to assume you need that help. I can be magnanimous and say, what help do you need? Because you can say, I just want to eat. It may not be that. Yeah. I mean, Jesus saw a blind man. A blind man. Is this what we have me do for you? It's oppressive to assume that he wants his eye opened. You are disrespecting him.
You need to ask him.
You should ask him. If you really respect him, even if you see him without legs, stop, it's good to see you. Even if you don't see him without, you should say, sorry, excuse me. What help do you need? You shouldn't assume it. You get me? So, live alone, walk alone, bring the whole world into your thinking, but decide alone. Anything that is going to make you point fingers at other people for your situation, reject it. You are in your world, you are fooling yourself, you are writing your own press. You are responsible for your life at every point in time. Are we clear on that?
Very well, sir.
If you miss this point, there are decisions you just can't take. The moment the culture throws something and shrink into your shell. Are we good? Yes. So I was already at that point for 14 years. I'll tell you, if I give you a drink now, you drink it, instant value, isn't it? Mm-hmm. How do you know? How do you know that it was valuable? Quench your thirst, filled you, tasty, instant value. If I give you food and you ate it, instant value, right? Yes, how do you know? Taste, nourished, stronger, you are full. If I give you a new shirt and you came out, somebody say, nice shirt, instant value. Instant value, right? If someone give you a brand new car, as you instant value. You can feel the convenience. People are, nice car. But if you speak to the 20 best thinkers in the world, and they just finish speaking to you for 8 hours, and you come out of the room, somebody say, wow, what a knowledge. Wow. Man, what a knowledge on you. Eh? They don't see nothing. That is the challenge of my own space as a knowledge professional. The system does not understand it. The system doesn't know how to relate with it. So many people have become prosperous without it. And so it's not respected as a tool of emergence, even though it is. So many people are so content, they don't want more. They just want to recycle a status for the rest of their life. So there's no way that is going to work for me. So I looked at my life as a knowledge professional, and I said to myself, I know where I'm going to end. This was going to happen to me. This was going to happen to me. This was going to happen to me. At 62, I saw my life to the end. I saw it to the day I breathed my last. Because I'm working with 80 years old. 80 years, that's what I'm working with. God gave me extra, fine. But I've really pleaded with him, if he works, to let me do 80. So I pictured it to 80. Nigeria is going to punish me. The moment my energy fades, Nigeria begins to punish me. And I'll not be able to respond. I will not have the energy to respond. And I can't do what people do. So I can't try to be liked. I can't live like that. A lot of people live like that in the name of networking. I can't live like that. I can't say I'm networking and I'm losing my dignity. I say I'm networking. Who am I networking? Onto what? My prized possessions are things like my decency, things like my dignity, things like my frailty even. Well, I respect those things a lot. So I made up my mind, this is how I'm going to texture my life. So I got to a place where I can't do what they do, and what I can do, I'm not allowed to do it. So I need to re-engineer this thing such that I'm able to gain an advantage and control. Let me tell you what slavery is. Slavery is not when you are in chains. Slavery is when you have no control over your necessary due human experiences. You are a slave. A slave, a victim, and a poor person are equal. When you dimension it to their real experiences, they have the same experience. The experience they have is they are all out of control. They are incapable of controlling, or they are unable to control their necessary due human experiences. If you are poor, if you are a victim, that's what is happening to you. If you are poor, that's what is happening to you. If you are a slave, that's what is happening to you. Even if you live by the beach in Miami or in Lekki, and you drive the best German cars in the world, as long as you have no control over your necessary due experiences, you are a slave. And I'm born free. I'm a complete freeborn. Do you understand what I'm saying? Have you seen a cage bird before? Have you seen a bird in a cage suffering? Cage birds are very fresh. They are very beautiful. Their feathers always straight. Yeah. They don't miss their meal. Food is guaranteed. They don't sweat. They bring everything to them. That's a cage bird. But I'm a jungle bird. The cage bird is very safe. A jungle bird is risky. It's in the wild. A plane can hit it. A hunter can shoot it. Its very essence is that I'm on my own. Whatever happens to me on this part is part of who I am. The only way we live our life is when we see the plane, when we see the hunters, when we see all of that, then we are birds. We navigate. If those things are no longer there, we are no longer birds. Yeah. So if I can't see the potential for loss, if I cannot see the propensity for pain, for discomfort, I can't live. I can't live here at the center of this place. I have to be here. I have to know that I can follow, but I will not. Do you understand? I live on the edge. The day I make it to the center, I'm dead. I cannot fulfill my dreams anymore. This thing is what keeps me going. And any champion you see out there, and anybody you believe are doing it, this is where they are. But you know what your mind tells you to do? Move here. Once you move here, you play too. Once you move here, you settle. You don't need a lot of money to move here. At 300 million naira in your life at any point in time, you are safe. Even in Nigeria. You are driving 2 sweet cars. You are living in a very beautiful neighborhood, maybe Parkview or Banana Island. Hello? You have money in the bank. You sit in front in church. You settle people. You have all of that. Except that you don't have $1 million yet. At 500 million naira, you don't even have $1 million yet. Wow. At 500 million naira, you don't have $1 million. People are billionaires in dollars. But with 500 million, oh my God. Your family members are afraid of you. Your friends are humble before you. Everybody is turning upside down. 500 million. I mean, this big boy. You have passed the test of locality. You have failed the test of universality. This watch has to be a watch in every country. Can't be a watch in Lagos and be a shoe in Japan because it cross border. Can't be a millionaire in Naira and be a thousandaire in pounds. You were never a millionaire. It is the blindness, the ignorance, and the darkness of your environment that strengthen your value in that space. By universal standards, you are just a weak fabric looking for space. Meaning that except you can find weakness, your value cannot be counted. Because when you stand with strength all around you, then you realize your nothingness. So let me park that there. So when I saw that, I started building structures. And I asked myself, so what does it mean to live above all of these things? And these are my assumptions. I'll run them real quick. Number one, visa is not the will of God. It's a human invention. When God created man, he said, fruitful, multiply, fill the earth. And you are supposed to do that without the approval of a third party. Because at that time, there was no visa in the world. Visa is a human invention in response to human unguardedness. At the beginning, it was not so. So visa is not design. It's not nature. So when you take yourself to a level where you transcend the limits of visas, before they call it relocation for you, understand that it's restoration. That is how you should move. That is the human being that God created. Every other thing that forced you into visas was human unguardedness. If you take yourself to a place where you can navigate in the world without the limits of a visa, it's restoration. That is the condition of the human being. Can you understand that? Restoration first. Then a people began to respond to their economics in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s. They are the grandfathers and the fathers of today's millennials. So I think the oldest millennial will be how old now? No, not 20-something. Millennials? I don't 40. Their parents were the ones who began to move in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s. So the goal was welfare economics. The goal of those people was survival. They were quite proactive, their fathers. They saw what was happening on ground, and they knew there was trouble ahead. And before Nigeria became what it is, they began to move. And as they were moving, they landed in countries undocumented, and so they had to navigate their way into legal. So they took on all kinds of menial jobs, made a lot of compromises, and then they became legal. They became documented. But they have been so jaded by their history of living undocumented that by the time they became documented, they couldn't keep the thinking of a documented person. So they kept the thinking of an undocumented person. And they continued to advise all those who came after them. When you come here, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Become a nurse. This, become with this. And that's how they think. And that has defined activity for generations of people over the years. That is what you don't want to do. So when they say japa, I am gifting them that is what they are referring to. That is not what Shola is talking about.
Yeah.
If you are a crocodile in Lagos, you don't get to America and become elephants. The best you will become is fresh crocodile. Very fresh. But you are still crocodile. In fact, let me tell you this. I don't know why you make your decisions in life. I'll tell you why you can't make a decision. You can't make a decision based on hunger. It's a very sad thing to do to yourself. Because you are going to, by your own self, define your ceiling. You will make promises to yourself. You will break as many as you may. Because you are motivated by your tummy. Look at how small it is. The eyes of people. It's not going to get you anywhere. You can't make a decision based on money. You can't say because you want to make it, that's why you want to make a decision. That's why you want to go abroad. It's not enough. So Nigerians don't live in America. I'm sure a lot of us have gone there, have come back. You know. The people here I know who have traveled. Right? You know that Nigerians don't live in America. They live in Nigeria inside America. That's what they do. Nigerians live in Nigeria inside London. They don't live in London. They live in Nigeria inside Canada. They don't live in Canada. You go close to them and you see that this is an incredible community of many dead bodies fighting for the same coffin. All of us. Defined by mediocrity, and let's be clear, they are very successful. Because over there, success is nothing. Power is everything. That's another distinction I should make for you, but I'm not sure I have the time. Just like we did mission and method, we should do success and power. Let me give you a simple case study. So in 1993, Nigeria learned a big lesson. It was a war between power and money. Money was represented by MK Abiola. Power was represented by Babangida. Money won the battle, but power won the war. In that money won the election, power came, cancelled the election, arrested money, jailed money, killed money, and nothing happened. Everyone with money is holding it in custody for the person with power. The person with power does not need to hold money at all. When he needs it, it's in your hand. You come and get it. If you have power, you have everything. You have money. If you have money, you have money. There's so much you still don't have. So when you talk to Nigerians, they will tell you, I have so real estate. I see them every day in America. Say, I need to meet one uncle's this. One uncle, okay, who is the uncle's this? Say, he has a big house in so. He has a big mansion. He has a Bentley. He has a Rolls Royce. I said, it depends on how he's behaving. He can even line in jail 50 years from now. People bigger than him have gone to jail. The national security advisor of a reigning president in America went to jail. Do you know how enviable it is to be the national security advisor of a president in the United States? Is he end up in jail? I should now pretend I don't know that and behaving and be trying to be like you. You know how I see myself? A dead man. That's why I'm not impressionable. I'm a dead man. We're all dead. Hello? No, come on now. It will be. For example, have you written your will? A lot of you cannot even write your will because you think you are confessing negative and calling your dead. But if you understand that there's no seniority in the grave, and you understand all the economies that define death, every minute of your life, you will demand that it counts. When people waste time, waste energy, waste association, they don't understand death. Like just yesterday, myself and somebody were talking, and he kept talking. I said, I'm sorry, I don't think like you, I said, I don't have that luxury. I said, maybe you are better than me, but I have no math to prove I will be alive tomorrow morning. I don't. People better than me are dead. People smarter than me are dead. You are making, like, the only thing you are not considering in all this your plan is that you are not a constant. All these big plans you are having, you may not, who told you you'll be alive? So factor that in. Maybe if you factor that in, all this your guardedness, all this your sense of caution will disappear. You can wait. I can't. I'm going to the jungle. I'm going to go take my risk. If I perish, I perish. I can't guarantee I'll be alive tomorrow. Yeah. When I leave here, I'm going to go and fly. I don't know if the plane will land or not. Presidents have had plane crash before. This was really the best plane in the land. It crashed. What about that? So, guys, I figure that at some point, and I'm fast tracking now because time is gone. At some point, you have to understand that history remains documented for it to be questioned. And while you may not be clear about what tomorrow is, you must be clear about what yesterday represents. Otherwise, it will give you a lot of depression. So the idea is you are not trying to go out of this country to do anything just because you need a better life. You're not trying to leave this country because you need better economics or because you want to secure your life. Your life is not secured anywhere. I live in Dallas. I cannot remember a day in Dallas that somebody is not shot. I cannot remember. I cannot remember. In fact, I was driving somebody one day, and he said, you want us to go into this mall to go back? I said, not me and you. I said, I'm paranoid. Yeah. Have you read Only the Paranoid Survive? Have you read the book? No. Only the Paranoid Survive. I said, me, I'm paranoid, and I'm not ashamed. I don't go there. I try to anticipate these things. There are too many poor people here. And with that comes a lot of nuisance. I said, you are going to wait when we get to another area, we'll go and buy it there. But here, this is somebody going to pull out a gun on us and begin to shoot everybody just because he's tired. So I'm not going to do that. We need to get to a better zip code. When we get to a better zip code, we'll go down and get it done. So, guys, I said, create a different vision of the world. I'll try and paint it for you. Reimagine your understanding of the world. Start with the powers that be. The biggest companies in the world, how many of them are based in Africa? Name the biggest companies in the world. How many of them are based there? Name the most prosperous companies in the world. How many of them have businesses? The most prosperous companies in the world, how many of them have businesses based out of Africa? I'm asking. How many of them have ideas that the world is not buying? Go to Japan. Let's go. Brands in Japan. Toyota. Japan. Honda. Sony. No, Samsung is Korea. Let's go there, Korea. In Korea, Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Kia. No, that's Japan. Germany. Heineken, Audi, Saab, Bosch, Bayern Munich, BMW, United States. All of us will name a brand here. We will not repeat it. All of us. That's why they're the most powerful country in the world. Okay, let's come home. Ghana. Okay. Let's pick the most populous black nation in the world. Nigeria, downward.
Nollywood.
Afrobeat. Yeah, it's jogging. It's jogging well. It's jogging towards it. Do you get the point? Do you get the point? So, guys, the owners of those businesses, please, first of all, Coca-Cola is in every country. Microsoft is in every country. Does Bill Gates live there? Does he live here? Where's he living? So, first of all, borderlessness is about the movement of ideas. Not the movement of the body. It's the movement of ideas. All those countries have been borderless all life long. They call it globalization deliberately, so that some other countries will not be able to participate. But what technology has come to do is to weaken the wall of globalization and give everybody a stake in the big picture, so that from Lagos, you can be curating ideas that are being consumed in Dallas or in Chicago or in Korea without necessarily moving your body. But with data, with your phone and your computer, you can do magic. But there are also ideas that require, if you are a boxer now, you can't say I'm borderless from Lagos. I mean, you have to go out there and fight. If you are a soccer player, you can't say I'm borderless. So I'm going to operate from Nigeria. Really? You have to take it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And there goes some other skills like mine. I mean, the knowledge space. Truth is universal. The picture I like to paint for people is, imagine a building with 7 rooms, kitchen, toilet, 4, all of that in the house. You own the whole house. It's yours. Everything in the building is yours. But for the past 26 years, all you have done, because we are watching you on CCTV, all you have done is move from your bedroom to the toilet in your room, to the kitchen, and back to the bed. So you have only moved between one room and the kitchen for 26 years. All the other rooms are yours. They are free for you to come into. You can enter them at any point in time. If that person is your cousin or your brother, and he owns a house, he lives in the house, and all he ever does is move from his room to the kitchen, won't you be worried? Probably depressed. Because it's not normal, is it? That's what you do when you keep yourself locked within a geography. It's a flavor of insanity. It's not normal. That society is not punishing it doesn't make it normal. Because people don't go to jail for it. Doesn't make, in fact, it's a crime against yourself. When your life is sure, you are ready to leave this world, retirement is guaranteed, death is guaranteed, your life will be proportional to 3 things. Number 1, the people you allowed into your life and those you denied access. The environment, the geography you chose to see and the ones you refused to see. And the moments that existed between people and geography that you refuse to prioritize. That's your life. That's the size of your pocket. That's the quality of your peace. That's everything in your life. That's your life. People, places, events. In other words, people, geographies, moments. So anybody around me knows that once you start talking to me, I say, okay, take a visa. Just travel. Just travel. It's gift to yourself. You are staying true to your own laws. And if you don't do it, you are breaking your own laws. It's crime against yourself. So you have to step out there. Get a visa. Decide where you want to go. And don't just go anywhere. I tell people, you can go anywhere on your first leg. On your second leg, don't go anywhere. You go where you want. Sensitive to your course and your journey. But you have to start going. Now, for those of us who are blessed with the capacity to go and to move, you should ask yourself, what is my portion in this world? For me, it's 80 million people. That's my portion. I don't want more than that. I'm just convinced that there are 80 million people in the world who will be locked in my ideology. There are 8 billion. 80 million is just how many percent? Just 1%. I'm not even asking for just 1% of the world. That's what I consider to be my portion of it. Just 1%. But there's a theory that says you only need a square root of 1% of any population to start a revolution of any kind. Whether it's mental revolution, thought revolution, whatever the revolution is, you only need a square root of 1% of the population. And I'm asking for, I'm asking for more than is required. I'm asking for just 1%. Do you get the idea?
Very well, sir.
So once you start investing in seeing the world, one of the scriptures I love the most in the Bible is in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. And Solomon was speaking, he said, I was king in Jerusalem. He said, but I seek and search concerning all that is done under the sun. In other words, I exist within a geography, but I keep my mind on the whole world. Hey! Hey! Man! How many years now?
Past 20.
Wow! Come on.
Good to see you. I can see you.
Woo! That's years ago. This was when I just got reinstated back to university after I was rusticated. These were the guys that were already Christians. I was still just looking for my way. They were the bro who received me and started giving me, confidence years ago on campus. At this time, no name boy, just coming out of drug addiction. Those were the brethren. So, I guess my counsel to you is start. What Vesti has done intelligently is to actually build a platform that connects you to the world. Whether you want to move ideas or you want to move your body with the ideas, their condition is that idea must precede body. Am I correct? That's right. No matter what you do, no matter what you want to move, make sure that you are not joining. People who are in Japa are those who are moving the body to go and fit in. You are going to get the idea that the world deserves to consume, right? And then if you need your body to move with it, fine. If you need only the idea moving for a while before your body joins, fine. If you need the idea to move perpetually without your body moving, fine. If you need the idea to move first before your body joins it, fine. And at times you may need to move your body before the idea joins it. But the idea is the recurring decimal. You understand? That's the mission. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
You will be less than 3% of the people in the world who understands this. Every time you begin to move in a direction that the universe has endorsed, you are moving against the majority. And the majority, in their weakness, defined by their inability to participate, jaded by the pain of their own history, we find comfort in pulling you back. You must have that creative rebellion to keep going forward. Right? I landed in the United States with my whole family. We landed there. I've not worked for any human being. Before I landed there, I will never work for any human being in my life. Not that it is wrong, but it's not my path. So I wake up, open my laptop, and start working like I do in Lagos. In Lagos, who I am? Who am I in Lagos? With all humility, I'm a king in my known palace. I rove with the world. I have some of the best people in this country in my phone. Entrepreneurs, actors, musicians. Think about it. Some of the politicians, government officials. I will be that anywhere I go. Every time I get to Murtala Mohammed Airport, that's going to happen tonight. I'm going to hug people, pray for people, sign autographs, people take pictures, selfie. It's going to happen tonight. Overwhelmingly. When I make it to the business lounge, where there's now concentrated value, right? I will still see 3 or 4 people will still say, ah, sir, you're in our church. Oh, you're in our office. Oh, I met you through. It's going to happen. When I get into the flight, where they are now, it's now deeply concentrated because there are some people in the business lounge who don't have a business ticket. They just belong to maybe they are part of maybe their membership of the airline guarantees them to sit there because of their point, priority pass and all of that. But in the plane itself, everybody who now goes to one side. So then, even in that space, as little as it is, you see one or two people will still come and say, ah, Mr. Shoriel. I've done that for how many years now? But when I land in Dallas, it's the loudest reminder that you are nobody. Not a fly. You will almost say, ah, you don't know me, greet me. Ah, people greet me. Ah, I'm Olakule Shoriel, greet me. Your normalcy begin to ring loud in your head. And for somebody like me, I get it. I get it. I still have work to do. I get it. It's feedback from the future. I get it. So I have a number of years, and at the end of that period, when I land in any port of entry, anywhere in the world, somebody will come and meet me and say, I was just reading your book from the immigration officer. Say, wow, sir, can I take a picture? That is when we are universal. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when that begins to happen, it means my message and my ideology has penetrated. Because they don't just take selfie with anybody. It's because they have encountered something of a force that has unlocked, forced their curiosity and their humility to pursue your source. So that will have happened to me. So I was clear, and I'm still on that journey. And if God permits, it will happen. It's happening already. In my city now, I go to some places, just because I funded one event. I funded a particular event, and I'm getting a lot of traction on that, but it's just the beginning. Still a lot of work to do. You understand what I'm saying? So guys, think about that. Vesti is doing an incredible work right now. And it's only a matter of time. This is how companies begin in the United States. There are 5 things that will guarantee Vesti's success. The only reason why Vesti will have a problem is because of this man and his brother. Nothing else. 5 things. Should I tell you what they are? Yes. Every time you hear first world country, it's these 5 things. Every time you hear third world country is the absence of these 5 things. Number 1, quality of life. Number 2, enabling environment. Number 3, equal opportunities. Number 4, access to credit. Number 5, power of the currency. Do you get it? Let's go over them. Nigeria. Quality of life, 0. Enabling environment. Equal opportunities. Access to credit. Power of the currency. This is the reason why Vesti will be struggling in Lagos if they launch this same idea from Lagos. They will not be less intelligent. They will not be less human, but they are going to be fighting systems when they should be thinking for the system. On many levels, I say this confidently. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be skeptic. But this country has mastered a way of killing, stealing dreams and passion. And you must not abandon this country. I can't afford to. Well, this is Lagos. We are here.
Yeah.
2018, I was in Nigeria every month except in December. 2019, I was in Nigeria every month except in March. 2020, I was in Nigeria January, February, March till COVID hit. And COVID happened. And by September, I was traveling again. 2021, I was in Nigeria all through except in September. Not that I'm living, I'm every month like that. 2022, I was in Nigeria all through every month except in November and December. 2023, I'm here. I was here in January. I'm already here in February. I'm back first week of March. That's how it's going to keep going. It's no longer Nigeria or America. Or is oppressive. Kill the or. Replace it with the and. That's the genius. It's Nigeria and America. Whatever you are doing here, do it like you are not stopping. Don't stop. Just expand. Bill Gates did not stop Microsoft in America because he wants to come to Africa. He kept Microsoft going in Africa and kept moving around the world. Somebody asked me in the United States, why did you come to America? I said, the reason why Bill Gates came to Africa. That's why I came here. The exact reason. I said, wow. I said, yes, that's why I'm here. The same reason. If Bill Gates, Microsoft, all of them leave Africa tomorrow, I'll reconsider why I'm here. As long as they are there, I'm here. Are we on the same page? This is how to see it. Does it look like jackpot in any way?
At all.
This is growth. Now, let me give you the final insight. I don't think Shola will have the luxury of asking me. Have I answered all the questions?
Quite frankly, you've answered a lot of the questions.
So I'll still take a few.
This is my attempt to interview you.
Thank you. Guys, look at it. Now I speak to you prophetically. A remnant has left this country. They are not the remnant. They are the false remnants. You know, every time there is a shout for an authentic move, a fake move rises before it. I always tell girls, probably meet the wrong man before you meet the right man. And if you're not guarded, we go with the first arrival. The first arrival usually is not the arrival. Not every time, but take it easy. No, that doesn't apply to you. Don't think, speaking by the Spirit. No. Don't go and break up. Are we together? So, a new remnant has begun. It started in 2018. Trust me. And this remnant is not moving in response to economics or insecurity or fear. They are responding to a mandate. And even though many do not know the mandate yet, but they will meet it on the way. Africa is not ready for newness. Black is not a color in the future. It's a vibe. When you go to Washington, D.C., you're going to see yellow cabs. Yellow cabs all over the place. All the yellow cabs are different colors. They are not yellow. You see a red cab, yellow cab. You see a red car, yellow cab. You see a blue car, yellow cab. Because yellow in that context is not a color. It's a vibe. In the future, a white man will say, I'm black. A white person will say, I'm black. And to be acceptable. Because black will rise to its highest glory. And black will be a majority at that time. There will be more black people working than white people living. If you are the custodian of country music, who consumes country music today? White people. In the future, where black is the majority, because by 2030 here, there will be more grandparents in the world than grandchildren. I hope you know. 2030 is the year everything we call new finally matures. Everything we are talking about now, AI finally matures by 2030. And from 2030, we are in full-blown experience of technocracy. Right? And when that begins to happen, you are going to see that the world is not as you think it is. We're going to be providing service more for old people than for young people. People are not dying, right? Couples are not marrying women. Men are not marrying men. Procreation is arrested on many levels. In big economies like China, first world countries, they are not dying. People are getting really old. Do you understand what I'm saying? So mortality rate is now. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these are the realities. So by then, to be a different world, to be a different energy. And black is going to continue to grow in number. White to be minority. If you are the custodian of country music now, your country music will vanish except you create black consumers. And how do you create black consumers? You have to create black celebrities, black singers of country music, and make sure they succeed. So that black people, so that black people can come and consume it. All of that is happening now. So with black country music players, right, there will be black consumers, and that is the legacy of country music, right? And that black is on you, naturally. So you have to be, we don't have time to break down the type of skills you have to acquire to be relevant in that space, but understand that a diaspora is being built. The exodus you are witnessing look misdirected, looks unguarded, but it's a necessary exodus. The destiny of our continent is in the hand of the diaspora. The diaspora is being organized to realize its socio-economic and political destiny in the continent. There will be partnership between what is coming and what is at home, but essentially, without the diaspora, nothing is going to move here. If you look at remittances alone, about $60 billion come to the continent every year. Anybody sending money from abroad is not sending up to 5% of their income. About 95% and more is still sitting in their host countries. And when that $60 billion come, what is it coming to do here? Welfare economics. It's paying rent, paying for hospital bills, sending money for food. What is it? That's what it's doing. Buying shoes, school fees. That's what it's doing. Right? Imagine we are able to convince the diaspora to add another 15% to the 2, 3, 4, 5% they are sending, making it 20. Do you know what that $60 billion become? Just beat that. Beat that. Now, we are now saying, don't send that money for welfare. Send it for development. Fund entrepreneurs. Fund ideas. Create incubators, accelerators. The destiny of our continent is not in our politics. Your politicians are big because you put your hope in politics. No country has grown because of its politicians. Nations grow because entrepreneurs and innovators and non-profits organize intelligently around ideas and give politicians a reason to camp around it. What politicians are looking for is political equity. If the idea is good enough, you camp around it. And then when you learn how to live with evil and give it its space, it's live and let live. Everybody will be fine. You understand what I'm saying? So get that right and understand that that is the science that is happening globally. And if you begin to take responsibility for this type of outcome now and ask questions about how you need to navigate, please, let me be clear again. I'm not asking you to go pack your bag and relocate. But that you should not have a stake globally, that is an attack against yourself. Just look at the Naira. Even if you forget about globalization, forget about borderlessness, if you are really a smart business person, does it not make sense to be making money in dollars right now or in pounds? Does it not make sense? Imagine that you are making your money in dollars. Does it bother you what is happening to the Naira? So you should spread your value. How much more when it's backed up with ideology and you are pursuing an agenda penetrating your mission? You see what I'm saying? So be clear. But I'm also saying to you that some of you will need to move. Don't be intimidated by the voices of people. It's your journey. At the end of the day, it comes down to you. Nobody can slap you and tell you how to cry. The system slaps you every day. And then they're going to tell you how to cry again. Cry on your terms, but give your cry a lifespan and give it a strategy. You also cannot cry forever. You have to keep quiet at some time and turn it to strategy. This is strategy. Don't just be crying. Do you understand what I'm saying? So start taking your destiny into your own hands and start thinking intelligently. There's so much capacity out there. It's easier to do business with the world than do it business at home. It's easier to do business with the world. If you have a US business address alone, you have not moved. Just have a US business address, US phone number. You have some virtual assistant with a US phone number, with American accents, calling Nigerians on your behalf. You'll be surprised how business will change. Because there's a low self-esteem that will soak into that. Sadly, it's not a testimony, but that's the reality. Have I helped? Are you sure? So get out, ask Shores, what can I do? So part of the intelligence over time, you hear when he said that I said, I have a path. There are different paths that we found that you don't have to go there illegitimately. You don't have to do business unguardedly. You don't have to be weak. The most powerful person on any negotiation table is the one that is ready to walk away without a deal. If you must have a deal, you are the weakest. And part of the power to negotiate is come clean. Be legal. Land legally. I know somebody who told a friend of mine, do this. I said, you landed illegally. He landed legally. You don't have the same assumption. You are living in your history. He's living in the future.
Yes, sir.
So there's so much you can do if you play the big game legally. Think about that and begin to ask questions about, okay, this is my own path. How do you map this? Right? And Shores is there to help, and Vesty will help. Even you want to school abroad. Even you want so many things. Think about that. God will bless you for it. No, God will bless you for it.
Amen.
That is a decision you owe yourself. It's a commitment you owe yourself. All right, thank you very much.
I'm going to take just 2 questions because Speaker has to be here out of here in a moment. So just 2 questions, and I promise the rest of the session will just be another 5 to 10 minutes of walking you through. Except people have questions, those ones, can wait, and I can talk to people, for maybe another 20, 30 minutes. But we said we're going to be here 4 to 6, and it's just a few minutes after 6 now. I know you guys have other appointments. I'm going to take 2 questions. So I already see the hands. Okay. All right.
Let the answer all get
once you have the answer, let's go. So just three people, we have the questions.
If you have a question, get up. You can do it fast.
Yes, let's do it fast. Your question?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I just want to ask a question. For instance, you already have a business running and you're building something, but you also want to take it globally. And there's also the notion of you have to actually establish first and build your own market before you expand. Can you address that question?
It's not a rule. There's no rule anywhere. Principles are universal, but experiences are peculiar. And as you appreciate principles and general rules, you have to ask what really works for your own peculiar idea. Do you understand? People have said for you to raise funds, you have to go to America. But people have raised funds from here, right? So there's no rule. You may need to do that. I don't know what business you do. You may need to do that. You understand what I'm saying? You may need to grow capacity first and set up yourself here before you go there. But some ideas cannot do that. You just have to go start there. So there's 1 to infinity, there's 0 to 1, there's 0 to infinity. It depends on where you are on that scale. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You are clear, right? Yeah, there's no rule. But maybe if you engage, Shola more, you dive more into the peculiarity of what you do, and you can advise. But you don't. The idea is you don't have to wait to say you are building one local capacity before you start moving. At times it's the other way around. You have to go build global capacity to create local capacity at times.
If you need to go to the International Space Station as your mission, there is no Nigerian program that is going to the ISS.
None.
So you can't build capacity here. You need to pick your bags tomorrow and get into it. Yeah.
Would you expand your business immediately once you were building to the US?
People have built, that's why PK said there's no rule. So for technology, if you are building for the African audience, we have seen people who build for the African audience from San Francisco, and we have seen people who build for the African audience from Lagos. So you just need to understand that there's no rule, and don't let that stop you, right? Yeah.
The first half of my question is similar to you have something here building momentum, already gathering momentum here.
Yeah.
How do you transition that momentum?
Yeah.
Losing it
Yeah.
because of moving around.
Yeah.
The second part to it is that in moving, there is a part of building people that help you sustain that momentum as you move around. How do you think of building people alongside you so much that you don't lose the momentum in the middle of expansion and going global?
You see, expansion is very relative, like I told him. But there's a lot of dogma in thinking about expansion. And expansion is purely a strategy issue. Do you understand? Is looking at where you are, where you want to go, and prevailing resources. And how do you navigate with that? So you may look at what you are doing and you need to start moving now. Do you understand? There could be an opportunity in America as well that has a window. And if you are saying you are waiting for everybody, I tell people if you are ready, you are late. Do you understand? Readiness is oppressive. It's just an idea in your head. Do you understand? It's to be ready in season, out of season. That's what I believe in. So we look at where we are, look at what we have to do. We ask, can we do it? Yes. Do we have what it takes to do it? Yes. Let's go. And it doesn't have to be 100%. It doesn't have to be 100% at all. In fact, there are ideas that you can never know if you can do it until you go and try. Do you understand? Can you carry people along? I have a team here. In fact, there are things I want to do in America that I can't hire an American for. Because they will drain me. Because labor, there's dignity of labor there. Do you understand? And I can't afford that. So I would rather keep my people inspired here. Make them work into good and they appreciate. Do you understand? Consider maybe I can even move that skill over there. And because it's my people and I've moved the person, we can also begin to discuss, okay, some compromises here that we can work with till you gain full capacity to earn at the level you want. You know, I always tell people that if I move somebody to the United States, me and him must agree when he's going to gain his independence. Because it's only a matter of time. So that we're not going to fight over that. I'm going to go. So let's talk. Within that period, I can afford to pay you this. Now, this is what they are paying here. But I really can't afford it. So I pay you this. Let's consider this as an apprenticeship. I show you the ropes. You take this, you win. And then when you go on your own, you can charge billions. You can even come and bill me back if you can help me to become a billionaire. You see what I'm saying? But you can also keep local capacity. So there are skills that I keep local capacity for here. Do you understand? Because some ideas have universal language. It's not Amala. So web development is web development. It doesn't matter where your website is being developed from. Do you understand? So if it is a universal language that is being spoken on that role, it's cheaper to keep the capacity here. Of course, the other implication is working in 2 different time zones, being able to talk to each other and maintaining, So right now, I'm building a team that is in Nigeria, but works with my US time. So 9 o'clock resumption time is 3 o'clock here. Yeah. So they will resume work at 3 o'clock here. And 10 hours after, 9 hours after, it's 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They will close here and sleep there and wake up there and go home at weekend. So we create a campus, get a nice duplex, and create a work environment there, 24-hour Wi-Fi, 24-hour electricity, everything is available. But work resumes at 3, it ends at, do you understand? So that when I'm awake, they're awake. So they sleep, they wake up, they go play. I'm already working on that system right now. Do you understand? So it's really about what works for you. But like I said, embrace the and. Don't necessarily tolerate the oppression of the or. You don't have to abandon what you are doing here. Those days are gone. It's not about relocation anymore, it's penetration. You are penetrating the world, you're not relocating. If anybody asks what I'm not relocated, I've not relocated. That's why we are here. We are penetrating. You see what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions together. All right, thank you so much. I run a prop tech company, and the real estate space is actually quite, how will I put it, mechanical, because there are laws that guide different countries. So if someone is penetrating, how do you suggest one can collaborate with those at the corridors of power and navigate that? Okay, great. So prop tech company, how to expand it and collaborate when you get to your destination country.
So my question is for an idea that is inherently borderless or global.
Okay.
Right? Is it stupid to try to build from Nigeria for the world? What are the challenges that we'll face? I mean, real life scenario, I run a company, a B2B SaaS startup, right? We have users, we're already getting signals that anybody anywhere in the world
Can use this.
use it.
Yeah.
We've done payment integration, we've done all of that. So I just want to know, like, am I missing something trying
Yes.
to build that from Nigeria?
You are, with due respect. You are. That does not mean you should stop what you are doing here. But there is efficiency. Right? And you can always increase efficiency. Right? So if you are able to do that in another country, you just make it easier for you. Do you understand? But that doesn't stop you from doing what you are doing here. But you're going to face a lot of challenges as you continue to do that. And as you continue to onboard more clients, you're going to have a lot of other problems. So enjoy this, but don't rest on it. Begin to quickly think of how you can, open platform there so that you can be able to take on what is coming. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's a Google question. There's so much about how tech, real estate runs in every country, even the United States. There are things you want to do and all of that. But honestly, I always tell people, don't make it into some crazy idea. Just get a visa for one. Have the right contact. No shows. You know me, you know a few friends. Come there, meet some big players in the real estate space. See what they are doing. Try and meet foreigners. I always tell people, when you go abroad, try all you can. You left 200 million Nigerians at home. You shouldn't go to America and be looking for them again. If it's Nigerians you want to be talking to, 200 million are at home. So, but that doesn't mean you should avoid Nigerians. There are Nigerians doing powerful things. But don't make that your default community. There's so much more going on. There's much more going on outside of the Nigerian community than inside it, in a foreign country. You see? So see what is going on, meet real estate players, ask questions, you'll find your partners. But that's a Google question. There's a lot of that with Google.
Yeah. I'm going to let PK go now. Please put your hands together to appreciate PK. Thank you so much, PK. I won't be able to go after you right now, so I'm just going to.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll talk later.
Which went down like 10 days. Yes. All right, that's the guys. Yes. So please have your say. For some of you who might be in a hurry to go somewhere, I'm just going to take 15 minutes. So if you can still afford 15 minutes, actually it's 12 minutes now. I think it's going to be 6:30 in like 12 minutes. So I plan to end this by 6:30. I'm sleeping right now by myself. So I'm not even, my body is already, so I'm not going to take your time. Yes, so a few questions or a few things that PK has laid the foundation, and he needed to do that because, all that, for those of you who are just hearing him for the first time or you haven't spent so much time with him, that, you can stretch all of that over like 10 years, and that's what I have been sort of like, everything he said today, for the most part, are things that he has broken down in several of his works. So if you can find them online, please take a look at it because it sets a very important background. So he was speaking to me in GRA Ikeja, 2018, and said, I have this path. I think you should actually take a look at it now. As he said, I wasn't looking for economic options. I was a senior leader at Microsoft Nigeria. Like I was traveling all over the world. I was philanthropist lead. One of my colleagues from Microsoft here as well. And I was pretty much, for want of a better word, I bought a house at 27. I was like what you would call like, okay, right? I traveled when I wanted. Microsoft will let you travel 3 to 4 times a year for the most part if you were in a role like mine. So everything was okay. But I had all those other limitations. I knew that success is not what you've achieved, but what you can achieve, given the true value of your potential. So you have to be able to compare both. So if everything is okay, you've done $1 billion here, the potential says you can do 20 billion. So why not? Why not check it out? Especially when you have the capacity to. So I decided that I was going to do something about it, but I didn't move. I didn't do anything. That 2018 December. Then 2019 elections, just 4 years ago. It's not 4 years. February 2019, something happened. I said I was not going to stay in Nigeria because the previous election in 2015, my wife was robbed at gunpoint on CMD Road. So I said, this election, I'm not going to be here. You should be your election. So I left, for Ghana. And as I was arriving in Ghana, the following morning, so a call woke me up that my parents had been robbed at gunpoint the same night. I'm now, so you can even leave and, that's still not the end. So So it's really not about, so even if you japa now, right? Even if it's about japa, if you japa now, like, you can't probably take your entire extended family. So it's really not about that. The concern is about how far your idea can go and what it can be when you get there. So that's why I said whatever country. My goal is not to say, oh, it must be the United States. Wherever it is under the sun where your capacity, where your potential can be fulfilled, that's what you should be really trying to do. So the company we are building is to solve the problem of how complex it is to move, to help people get back to that natural state that we talked about. You know, so, and as much as possible, I feel there are people who might have some questions around, also, what do I need to do? How do I need to? So I had a company in Nigeria, right after I was leaving, as I was about leaving Microsoft, I was already running the company, a talent marketplace. And I had team members that I needed to keep motivated as well. It would be hypocritical of me to move abroad, tell them I'm expanding the company, and not be thinking about their future. The entire set of people, I say the entire set of people who were working with me that year, when I say the entire, I mean the entire. The last guy just arrived in Canada 2 weeks ago. Like literally, like Netherlands, Germany, United States, United Kingdom, all of them. And I have another group of people, they are in cohorts. I'll be hypocritical if you work with me for more than 2 years and you can't see the path by yourself. Because I feel that as a young person, I'm not 100% efficient in this country. I can't achieve the things I want to achieve. I have to worry about all the limitations. So he showed me that pathway, and we didn't even know we were going to build Vesti. We're still building the talent marketplace. And as we were building it, we quickly realized that the bigger problem was not even connecting talents in Nigeria to Silicon Valley companies. Almost all the people I connected to jobs in Silicon Valley were losing it because of internet access, power, my laptop got stolen, you know, all kind of things. You know, so I figured that this wouldn't really like be the thing, like you would really be struggling. So what can we do? Around the same time, 2020, there was the NSAS. And people were asking, oh, what would they do? How would they move abroad? This and I said, okay, I'm just going to do a webinar for about 200 people. And then 6,000 people show up on the call. And I realized, wow, this is crazy. Meaning that people really need this. So we started building a Telegram group and answering questions for people for free. And then eventually we realized that, hey, these guys needed to make payments. So we built a payment company that helped them to make those payments. And I stumbled at a research by the UN that said that $560 billion is the size of global migration payments. Not remittances, not global payments. $500 billion, only migration payments. So I want to pay for IELTS, English language test. I want to pay for WES, World Educational Services, credential evaluation. I want to pay for nursing and midwifery council exams. I want to pay for PLAB because I want to be a doctor that will move to the US. All of those payments together cost $500 billion every year. That's the size of the market we're tackling. So we decided, oh, we're just going to help with those payments. Then a few months later, we realized, hey, there are people that have not even got to the point of the payment. They can't even design a pathway for themselves. So we built the first way to visualize your journey. People who say they want to move abroad, 4 years, they're still thinking about it. They don't know what to do first and what will be the last thing. So we built a system that visualizes how to move from country A to country B. And that's how we stumbled on the operating system for migration. And that's what we're building at Vesti. So you may see an ad that says, do you want to jackpot? You may attend a webinar that says about jackpot. Has nothing to do with the way we are thinking about it. Because in the year that I moved to the United States, and I tell people, everybody who uses Vesti to move is adding to the economy of the destination country. In the year that I moved, I didn't have a job anymore at Microsoft. I had resigned. I still spent $100,000 trying to settle in. And all of it came from the business I was still running in Nigeria. So what we're telling you is not like, we're not painting the picture of there's this glorious future, greener pastures. All of you know that story has cast, right? You know, because people are getting there now and they're like, it's not green pasture. Because it would appear like that at first. But the idea today, and it's like, no, this is not what I'm. 3 years later, I tell you, it's just been really of his city relates to him. United Nations, what he has done for the World Bank, all kinds of things. How he has published his books on Forbes, things that he could not, essentially do here. So just thinking about building Vesti, moving from the first company to the other one, within a couple of months, we raised $1 million. I would be literally an exception. Look, raising $1 million is no longer a big deal in Nigeria, right? It's no longer a big deal. But it's still a big deal if you look at the number of people versus the population. The chances that a company will get acquired like Paystack, that is a Nigerian company, Yes, it seems like it's rising. We can give ourselves that hope. But do you know how many companies are getting bought in New York every day? So we can celebrate success at the level that we are, but we've forgotten that there is so much more. It was when I realized that the funding in the state of Maryland alone is more than all the funding that comes to Africa every year. The state of Maryland alone. So now I'm doing a $5 million seed round without like, oh yes, I'm still like, I feel like I'm trying to do it and all of that, but I couldn't even think about raising $5 million a year ago or 2 years ago. So that's really what we're talking about. So yes, you can build it. I have a friend building a SaaS company like you, and they're using it in like 70 countries already. He's building it in Dallas. The difference is that it will be valued differently. This company will be valued differently. It will do it more efficiently. It's not likely to find kidney stone and be operated upon immediately and start dialysis when he could just use a tablet. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, healthcare is there, everything. Like, I don't want to talk about how bad things have become for some people, because challenge with us is that for many of us, we wait until it happens to us. If it doesn't happen to you, you don't. So I waited from December 2018 to 2019 to experience it again, that my parents had been robbed all night before making that decision. I paid the attorney that day. I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. PK has talked about this alien with extraordinary ability thing. He says that my career, the work I've done, the book I've written, all these things count for something in America. And then I will land in the UK and I'm in the US and be legal, and I can move my family with it. I was like, wow. So now we built all these kind of pathways: education, alien with extraordinary ability, skilled worker, H-1B, into different pathways on our platform, supporting immigrants moving from 131 countries. And that's what, I just felt like, okay, I'm here to see the team in Lagos. We still have a team in Lagos. I'm here to see the team in Lagos, and I'm like, PK is in Nigeria, there's going to be an intersection. Is there a chance that he can sort of like discuss with, because I probably know 1/3 of this room, like personally. So these are people that I probably would have met at some point, or we've been having this conversation going. I'm like, enough of me trying to talk about this. Maybe PK, who shared this with me and who has really helped me to be able to do the kind of thing. So immigrants who arrive in the US illegally, you are still even trying to find your foot for 10 years. Because you are illegal, you are running around, you are trying to, 2 months after I arrived, I asked them, where can I buy a house? Not because I came with a potload of money, I moved with $2,000. $2,000, that's why. In fact, my wife says the money was lesser than that. So, because people ask me questions like, do you have to move like XYZ? There are people today who move through this same pathway. You know of Jimmy Tewe, you know of Steve Harris, you know of Remi Dairo, Praise for Wowe. Like, these are people who essentially, because they are the people with the highest amount of tendency to take risk because of the line of their work. But there are other people that you don't even know, that if I mention their names, you wouldn't even know them. Software engineers, business people, event planners, designers, who essentially just found out the pathways to move. So this alien with extraordinary ability visa works better for this group of people. In the form you were asked whether you are a decision maker, a CEO, COO. So almost everybody in this room is a C-suite executive of some sort. I think I saw 1 or 2 program managers, but most of you are like CFO, CEO, and all you need to do is register a business. That's why PK said an idea. People didn't know that you can actually register a business in America and then use that business to file for yourself as an employee of the business. That's it. That's what the O1 visa is about. You register the business in the US as an LLC or a C Corp, and then you invite yourself to be the CEO of the company. So you write an offer letter by your HR manager in your current company in Nigeria. You use the same company you have in Nigeria, you register the same name in the US. If you like, you can register another name. There's no, but whatever happens, you have your HR send you an offer letter. The offer letter has to be documented. We put that together with all of your accomplishments. Whether you won an award 10 years ago, you spoke at this event, you were a panelist in this event, you were a judge in this. If you're a CEO, you have people working under you, so you've done performance review. It's called judging the work of others. So there's like 7 criteria that the US says that if you can meet that criteria, you can move to the US with you and your family covered. And you will never have to go and queue for visa in Walter Carrington. Because when you apply for the O1 visa, for example, the petition is approved in the US by Homeland Security. The petition is then sent to the embassy here. You book an appointment to go and show that it is you. It's not, the conversation is not about whether you can get the visa or not. It's been approved. All they want to give you is that there needs to be a place where the passport, where the visa is going to be put. How many of us know what a visa is? No. Like, I'm asking this question. We think we know. No, we think we know. A visa doesn't allow you to stay somewhere. A visa allows you to enter somewhere. So, and many people don't remember that that is what a visa is actually for. So the only reason you are going to the embassy in Lagos after you get that petition approved is to get that entry permit. And actually, many people don't know that the visa is not what was pasted. Usually, that's another thing. So what is pasted is not even still the visa. That is why you can be denied entry at the port of entry. The guy who gives you until, if you've seen B1, B2 until, is the guy that actually just gave you the visa. So basically you move from someone who would go on DS160 page, for those who are familiar, and book for the visa for 2025. The date is now around 2025. If you buy the date, they will catch you. They will not give you the visa. And what's going on now is that once they see that you booked a date before, and then automatically you got a date that is closer, they wonder what happened. They've even asked people, they challenge people. And sometimes they don't even challenge people, they just don't give the person. So you get a visa that allows you to be able to, number one, be seen as an alien with extraordinary ability. Because the US designed this in the early 90s to find the best talents around the world. And don't blame them. That's how they build their economy. I'm hoping that in the future we can talk to Nigeria to build a global talent visa. Hopefully there will be a country where people want to come to Nigeria. You know, but that's what it is for the US. So once you apply, once you register a business, the business doesn't have to be operational. So that's another myth. You don't have to have made money, raised money or anything, no. The business is for you to be able to get what we call the employer identification number, which is the tax ID of the business. So that they know that when you are coming, both you and the business will pay taxes. And once you put all those petitions together, it's arranged together either by yourself or by an attorney. Usually we advise by an attorney. They submit it. If you do the expedited, you get the result in 2 weeks. I got my own result in 9 days. Petition approved. I applied in April. I submitted in May. I applied April ending, and then I got the result first week of May. I started talking to the lawyer in February during the elections. And by July 4th, myself and my family, we moved to the United States. And this time around, we were not looking like, oh, would they let us in? Would they not let us in? We had our social security. We could do the things we wanted to do. So now it's just one of the several pathways that Vesti has. But I'm talking to this audience today. I'm not talking to you about going to school in America. You might not want to. I'm not talking to, meanwhile, there are people. I know of a gentleman who has real estate business, nearly $30 million, but has decided that he wants to expand his business to the US. Consider doing the L1, L2 visa, which is an intra-company transfer, except that for L1, L2, you must have a business fully built out on the other side. You know, and he didn't have time. And he feels like he's not qualified for the O1 because he has not been speaking, he didn't have a panel session. He said, okay, he's thinking of doing a master's in the US. And he decided. So people still follow education. I'm not saying they don't. And he just arrived. He just messaged me that he has arrived in Miami with his family. But the O1 visa is clear. You are coming to be an entrepreneur. It's very clear. And you will begin to do business, expand your work, and you can come in and out as often as you want. There's no residency requirement. Now, does it have a pathway to citizenship? Yes, it does. After the O1, you do the EB1, which is the green card equivalent of the same visa with the same requirement plus additional achievements that you now have in the US. So usually people will space it out by another 1 year. Do the green card. Once they do the green card, you start counting 4 years and 9 months to becoming a US citizen. And it is nothing like Canada. Trust me. People want Canada because quick, everything. But it's a $1.5 trillion economy. It's just 3 times the economy of Nigeria, with a landmass of Nigeria and population of 31 million people. So if you like a pretty chilled life, totally cool, you're not trying to be ambitious, you don't want to be a billionaire, it's totally fine. But if you're looking at something, and people can choose that. People can, there's nothing wrong in choosing that. I have many friends that chose that. But the US has $22 trillion. That's the size of the economy. It means that there's enough room to be able to be whatever you want to be. And that's what I asked myself. I'm not selling salt, sugar, or any of the other things that the masses can buy. So I can't, you know, essentially be, and how many Dangotes? Tell me, how many Dangotes do we have in this room? In Nigeria. How many Dangotes do we have in Nigeria? Almost everybody that's excelled is an exception. Go to where it's a rule. So that's it. I don't want to take your time. It's probably past 6:30 already. The next step for anybody who is trying to understand and who wants to move ahead, first of all, I mean, like all my guys in marketing will say, please download the Vesti app. get access to it. 100K people already use it. And we're happy that this is the year we're going to cross 1 million people. We're expanding to Mexico, Ghana, Zambia. We're already like showing the world that, we already built the rails to accept payments from 131 countries globally. So, we're building. So please download the Vesty app. However, if you want to go ahead, I'm sure you signed against your name today, so we can find you. If you want to go ahead to learn more about the O1 visa itself and do something about it, especially for those of you that this is not the first time you're hearing it. I know talking about it's not the first time, Tops, I know it's not the first time. Many of you in this room, this is not the first time you're hearing about it, but like, should I do it? Is it time, to do it or not? The UK Tech Nation got, suspended. It's ending March 31st. Global Talent Visa will continue. So I'm not going to lie to you and say it won't continue, but nobody knows what the guidelines will be. And the new company that got the grant is a bank, Barclays. We don't know whether it's go expensive, whether they will know. So the pathway for talents in the UK is not really clear. So if you want to do it, you're interested in it, all you need to do is to drop an email. The whole of January, we had about 51 companies, who wanted to do this. And we're focusing on Ghana, Cameroon, and other countries this February and March. But because I wanted to make this trip in January, but I couldn't make it, I still decided to run this. So if you want to still be on that schedule to try and do something about it this quarter or the next, all you need to do is drop a line on my email address, olu@wevesty.com. olu@wevesty.com. Some of you had the email already. Drop the line, and you're going to say again? At Wevesty. The name of the company is Vesty. Wevesty. W-E Vesty. I can write it on the board. So drop a line there. That's all you need to do. My team is going to take it over from there. They'll send you a link for a paid clarity session. It's a paid clarity session because you are talking to attorneys in the US who understand the process. They're going to walk you and your spouse, if you're married, if you want your kids that are on the call as well, they can be, through the process of getting the O1 visa, what it takes, how much it will cost, and I won't let you wait till when you get on the call to know how much it will cost. People send me emails and like, are you trying not to tell us the amount? No. Like, the amount is publicly out there. So it's not a cheap process, but it's surely cheaper than education and some other things. You will spend about $26,000 to go to school in the US, around 9 to 16,000 pounds, depending on if you are going to low-tier schools in the UK. You can spend as much as 76K to go to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Oxford, or any of those Ivy League schools, right? But the O1 visa will cost anybody, depending on what your position is, what you are doing, what you have achieved before, anything between 7,500, that's 7,500 and 13,000. And that's all it takes to be able to make sure that you're making a decision that will transform. Especially if you didn't have your, I don't know, there are people here who already, say again? No, you didn't charge this. Oh, you're surprised. Oh, I mean, like for real, like, no, there's no hidden charges. It's simple. Like, I just explained it to you. You could actually do it by yourself if you wanted to. Like, I didn't do it by myself. And many of the other people didn't do it by themselves. We chose an attorney because we wanted to make sure that our chance of success is a lot higher. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all you need to do. So my goal is we selected the right set of people to be in this room today. So I'm not marketing you or trying to pitch you or anything. No, that's not my goal. My goal is that you have seen this, you are running a business, something tells me you can see that there is a future that is beyond just sticking to status quo in this country, and you're able to make a decision about it. The email again is olu@wevesty.com. Drop the email address, drop a line, just say, hey, we met at Shorian's event today, or we met at Audacity of Borderlessness, forward to do the clarity session. From the clarity session, you'll be told whether or not, or whether there are things you need to still go and do. Take more speaking invitations, decide to publish a book, oh, do this newsletter, oh, do that. Not everybody has to publish a book. You have a B2B SaaS. The software alone is a body of work. That's an example. If you are, like, people can ask questions. I don't want to continue because you can ask questions. I just want people to ask questions so that those who need to go can go, and I can also find some place to lay my head. So that's the summary of it. That's it. Oh, no, let's take one or two more questions. Thank you. Yes.
For the O1,
yes.
Not everybody in this room is really tech.
Yes.
For someone like me, bridge through business styles and
yes.
tech. Like,
okay.
It's a mix of the two.
Yeah.
So what is the need for someone like me that's coming from that background?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not tech art. So the O1 visa is not even, it's not a tech sensitive visa. People in tech. So there are three categories: arts, business, science, and athletics, and then motion pictures and television. So those are the 3 broad categories. So if your work fits into arts, business, science, athletics, and then the third one is motion pictures and television, then you are fine. I think your work has to fit into it. Yes, science, athletics, then the third category is motion pictures and television. So your work has to fit into any of those 3 categories. We just want to realize that you're outstanding in that field and you've been recognized for it. That's it.
So,
I'm going to take your question.
my own question is I work within the mental health space.
Yes.
Right. Right here in Nigeria, I've had clients from the US.
Yes.
Sessions
With you.
Zoom
Yeah.
stuff. So I want to find out, would I be falling under the science category? Because yes, I'm about to speak in a case. What position that what tradition of the standard.
So because you're a psychologist or you are a did you say a therapist? Yeah, mental health therapist, emotions doctor, right? That's how she got to the US. So that's somebody in your field. I don't need to say more, right? So she went there. It's partly science and partly business. So you're going to use both and combine it together. And all those things you already mentioned, they are part of it already. Question? I'll come to you then.
All right. Is it possible for
Absolutely. You should definitely start. If you're applying to, you should start, essentially, because, you know, there are other things that are responsible for your own decisions. Some people are waiting for, you know, what was it that somebody said they were waiting for? Some people have time at work where they will retire. Somebody has, you know, the time where their wife will finish a program they are doing here. So you can move at any time. Get the approval and then get the visa and hold it. There's no requirement about how quickly you must move. It's not like Canada where you must appear in 60 days. No, it doesn't work like that. Yes.
So for someone who is into, say, manufacturing,
Yes.
manufacturing maybe products or printing and all that, how effective is that if he wants to still maintain
That business here.
how relevant would that business be more advanced?
In more advanced, so that's a symposium discussion. It's actually a question for like a business consultant. But the answer is yes. There is really no business that doesn't have that demand if you speak to the right people. They're printing, they're doing the same things, they're manufacturing, they're doing 3D printing and 3D manufacturing in the US as well. You know, so there's a huge opportunity to even go to the next level of what you were doing here. You know, I thought the question would be, do you think that that will qualify? And I think that will still fall under business. And if there's some science to what you do, you know, then we can put both business and science together. You know, but the answer is yes, there is a pathway. You know, I was doing education, the company that I was running before Vesti, and I was able to move with it. And education is still accepted everywhere. Construction, prop tech, manufacturing, they're all larger expressions of the same thing in those countries. You know, but you would need to still talk to, like, you know, folks who have done it and all of that. And I'm able to discuss it even offline with you on what is possible. Yeah, but the key thing is get that, as PK said, just get that visa first and be restored, and you can think about all the amazing things that you can do with it. There was a hand on this side. Okay, and you, okay. So we're going to take only those 3 questions because we need to be out of here.
So you made mention of
Yes.
So you mentioned that what some of the requirements include speaking at events.
Yes.
So let's say you haven't done that maybe in a while, or you haven't even because they're
Been doing that. Yeah, that's not really in their fields.
right. And then I have a product development company.
Mm.
So we do product application and transport space. And the application is going to be ready by Q3. So what if I want to start this process now? What are the chances?
That you can make it happen by Q3.
Yeah.
That it can happen by Q3.
Before Q3, where
That can happen before Q3. You want it to happen before Q3. Q3 is when?
Q3 is like September.
July to September. I said I got my own approved in 9 days. Not because it's me. The process cannot be more than 2 weeks. Oh yeah, would that allow you? Perfect. Now I get your question. You're right. So what we're going to use is the body of work before the product, and then we'll of the product that you're building now into the application. So essentially, you are going to the US to launch that product that you are building. Do you understand? And then there are people whose field does not even warrant them going to speak. If you've been rejected, there's a country that values it. But if you have not been speaking at all, there are 7 requirements as part of the O1 that you're going to get to know more about on that clarity call. You can also read it on Google. You know, but what is different is that the interpretation of it is subject to someone who has knowledge and experience. So out of those 7, speaking is just one. Speaking, you know, and all of that is just one. There's a chance you meet others, and it's only 3 that is required. A product. If you have not spoken of others because you have employees and all of that, you know, so there has to be something out of those 7 that you have as someone who is a business leader. You know, 3. There's something we call the documentation process. I have someone in this room who basically has a company that helps people with authoring a book. So you've thought about it, you have the ideas, but you've not written it or published it. They can make it happen in 30 days. So that is part of what you're going to add to the process. So if there are things you don't have after doing that clarity session, then you opt for the documentation. That's why I said it's usually between a certain amount and a certain amount, depending on how much work that needs to be done. So essentially that's it. So you don't need to worry. Yeah, I have one hand there and then madam. Yes. Yes.
It's based on the primary applicants. If I have
Yes. Okay.
you say $13,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's good to pick the upper limit. That's fine. Yeah.
I don't need this.
Yes.
Is it media the primary applicants?
And all your kids. All you need to pay for your kids is the locally here. As soon as your petition has been approved, that's like 7-something thousand or 8-something thousand per person, depending. Yeah, so it covers everybody.
Should we get married ahead?
I mean, totally. If you marry, whether you marry now or you marry after you get the O1, your spouse still gets the O1, O2, the O3 visa. Yeah. If you've traveled before, great. If you have never traveled, you are using a virgin passport. There's no such thing. You know, there's no such thing. So it doesn't, you know, as long as you haven't committed crime or done anything that has affected you, and if you've done anything like that during the clarity session, just share. Attorney-client privilege, they're going to tell you exactly what to do. I know somebody who popular person, committed a crime in the time when they didn't know. They worked in the US when they were not supposed to work. They were caught, and then, you know, the time has passed. They've been banned, and the ban has been lifted. And now after the ban, since you've served the punishment, you don't have a problem with that. So people don't even know that that's possible. Yeah. You know, so they're all kind of. So if you have any circumstance, you just have to reveal it so that they can know the exact thing. So I've been rejected 3 times for B1, B2. It does not reduce your chances at all, you know, for this particular process. It doesn't impact it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to have
the type of business doesn't really matter as long as it's a business. What I think you might be concerned about is that the business must meet certain requirements, like the one in Nigeria that you are outstanding, maybe you've gotten, you know, award for the best bakery in Lagos, or as a person, you've been invited, you're the chairperson of Bakery Association, or any of those things. So they're looking for outstanding people. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, they're looking for outstanding people within their field.
So
and
the clarity session, is there going to be another charge for that? Or
the clarity session is a paid session, and it's charged towards the amount. So $99. It's $99. I don't talk about it because if anybody has a problem paying it, they will not even be able to pay for the. No, I'm being real here. You know, yeah. So basically, the amount is charged towards the full amount. It will be deducted from your full bill. But we don't want to keep lawyers on the call. You know, in the US, everything is per hour. Like, you know, so you don't want to keep lawyers on the call and then they're explaining stuff to you. I've seen Nigerians who paid and didn't show up. Like, so, let alone if he was now not paid. So it's usually charged towards the amount. More than, I mean, the lawyers are more than happy. If you don't, all right, I'll be on the call. I'll just be waiting, you know, and stuff. So basically, it's charged towards the full amount of your petition.
Yeah, the call.
Yes, the clarity call.
The
Yes.
clarity call. there a corporate package? Maybe you want to for the
Definitely send an email on it. Yeah. A way for people to, but at the end of the day, because we are charging the full sum, even if you pay one person and 16 people come on the call from the company, we don't allow. I can tell if it's not your last name, they usually would say, sorry, this call is for social person. You can be members of your own family. I've seen people brought their cousins because that's the person that will help them gather the document. Do you get what I mean? So that's possible. But if somebody is trying to want to say, okay, my team of 5, the team of 5 will still pay for the O1 anyway, so it's okay. It's not a problem at all. We have companies that they want the co-founder and the founder to get it at once. We have startups that are working on that have both the founder and the co-founder and other team members, getting it as well. So that's totally fine. Not a problem at all. Please send an email and indicate that it's for company. Yes. Sorry, guys. The rest of you that are not asking questions, I hope these questions are also useful for you. So I don't want to feel like we are trapped here, so, yeah.
So what would you advise for someone that has
Okay, thank you.
options of going for school
Yes.
or
Yeah. Well, it really depends. Like the time if that education was an important priority for you already, that means you really wanted maybe an MBA or something, then go for education. But the interesting thing is that the O1 visa allows you to go to school without having to get a student visa. And it allows your spouse to go to school as well without getting a student visa. So I would say use one stone to kill two birds. When you become a student, you only have 20 hours to work. When you get an O1 visa, you're not limited to work within the company that filed for you, which is your company. So there's no limitation. You can take as many contracts as possible, you can do all that. But as a student, you have 20 hours to work and you are worried. Yes. Yes.
I'm also free to get there and work for other companies, get a job.
No. That company that filed for you is the company you can get all the jobs through. It's called corp to corp, meaning that you don't exist as a worker. You are a worker in your company. It's just like if Microsoft files for you, you can't go there and go and work for Google. So if your company, what's your name, sir?
Suraj.
If Suraj LLC files for you, you can only work for Suraj LLC. But Suraj LLC can get contracts at Deloitte, Accenture, and be a worker through Suraj LLC to Deloitte. It's called corp to corp in the US. So do you understand? Yeah. Thank you, sir. One more question at the back there. And the rest will be on clarity calls, personal messages, or any, yeah.
I don't know if anyone has asked about possibility of family members working.
Yes, very great question. Oh, okay. Yeah, very great question. So your spouse, in the immediate arrival to the US on the O1, your spouse or the dependent is not allowed to work. It's not allowed to work. Yes, thank you. The moment you file for the EB1, which is the green card equivalent, usually some people try to wait for a year, some 6 months to file for it. There is no requirement of time to wait for it. Once you file for the EB1, you can get, both of you will get a work authorization, by which time you don't have to work for Suraj LLC anymore. You can now work for any company. You understand? So Coven Works LLC filed for me. Coven Works Inc., which is my company, filed for me. Then about a year or two after, I did the EB1. Once I did the EB1, then I went back to Microsoft, Domino's, for a year. I wanted some soft, you understand? So I went to Microsoft for a year, and all of that. And then my wife, who was always saying, I want to be able to work. When are you going to get this thing done? I want to be able to work. The moment she got the work authorization like this, she said she's not working again. So yeah, she just continued her business. So she's never really, now she has to work authorization. She's just running her business. She's doing her thing. So basically, on the immediate arrival to the US, all that your wife has is to be able to, she can do other things. She can volunteer for non-profits, she can write a book, she can build business, she can register a business, she can go to school. She can do all of those things. But she can't work with, you are very, very, very intelligent. So essentially, so she can be paid through your company. That's it. So essentially, you are not allowed to use that particular visa to work. People don't know the difference between that and you can't work. Yeah. Because I've seen somebody who arrived in the US like that as an O3, then because she's around, she was able to go to Microsoft to say, hey, I used to be a management consultant in Nigeria, in the job, this is that. Actually, I'm an O3, so you will have to file for me. And they filed for her. So people don't, what they're saying is you can't use that particular visa as the dependent to work, but you can seek opportunities that will change that status. But that's it. So, and because you are closer now, they won't worry about relocation costs. You're already there. So it's easy, it's relatively easy. I don't want to use the word, easy. So does that make sense, somebody today? Is it worth your time? Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much. Don't forget, that's the email right there. Send it sooner than later, rather than later, because, things are filling up. And I appreciate your time. I wish you guys all the best going back to your various locations. And I'm still going to be around talk for about 15 minutes. I have a call in another 15 minutes, in another 30 minutes. So thank you guys. Yeah. Yes.
So, all right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You were talking